of Monster.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beginner's Guide to Genshin Impact. My name is Azuark, and today we conclude our 4-part series on Should I Play Genshin Impact? And while I may have sounded positive, without a whole lot to criticize in the first 3 segments, today is the day where we maybe pump the brakes. For you see, today we are going to discuss the Gacha. In order to address this, we first need to define gacha in general. Gacha, G-A-C-H-A, is short for gachapon, the name of a type of Japanese capsule machine. Children would go up to these machines, pay a few yen, turn a crank, and get a little plastic bubble with a toy on them. And the allure is that while most of these capsules are basically junk, there are a few rare prizes that are rather lucrative and make kids want to spend their money. And in essence, that is exactly what a gacha game does. Rather than charging money up front to play, the game is in some way restrictive and then offers you ways to pay in order to remove those restrictions. By far the most common variety is by selling you new characters. These characters are either desirable for their superior gameplay, or for being sexy waifus, or both, and a variety of psychological tricks are used to persuade gullible, weak-willed individuals into paying money not just once, but repeatedly, as they get addicted to the loop of pay money, get new things. In essence, they create a gambling addiction. They are incredibly predatory and, generally speaking, to be avoided at all costs. I swore that I would never go near a gacha game under any circumstances. Then Genshin came out, and I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. To be fair, Genshin doesn't look like a typical gacha game. Older gachas tended to be cheap on production value, obvious cash grabs that nonetheless hooked a small but loyal group of players to fund their games. Despite frequently having poor gameplay and little else to show for your money besides a few pictures of anime breasts. Genshin, on the other hand, is a legitimate AAA game that just happens to be monetized through gacha. If you've ever played a free-to-play game on the internet, you know how in your face they are about steering you toward the limited time events, the premium currency, and whatever passes for loot boxes in their title. And Genshin Impact doesn't do that. There are a few options in the menu that don't go out of their way to call attention to themselves, and if you ignore them, the game doesn't double down on steering you in their direction. Simply put, MiHoYo is content to let you just chill and play their game. If you never opened the appropriate menus, you might not even realize this was a gacha game. Well, okay, that's an exaggeration. There's way too many weird currencies for it to not be a gacha, and they absolutely are trying to sell you new characters, but it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say, she's not like the other girls, she's special. Because if we're being honest, Genshin has reshaped what a gacha game can be. And while I can see a small argument that playing this game normalizes the practice, which will just encourage companies to make more like it, the truth is that the things that make Genshin stand out are the high-end development efforts from a well-oiled and well-funded machine. Prior to the release of Wuthering Waves earlier this year, there was simply nothing to compete with it on the market. So, I do believe that it's okay to make a lone exception from refusing to play gacha games here. However, that doesn't mean Genshin completely gets a pass. The game is still absolutely a gacha, and if you trip and fall down the part of the menu with the "here's where you spend money" screen, you will be subjected to all the same psychological tricks as any of its ilk. Because of the massive crossover appeal, Genshin ensnared a lot of people in its first year who had never played a gacha before and who weren't wise to the pitfalls. They spent a lot of money before realizing how in-deep they've gotten themselves. So if you are someone who forms bad habits easily or are prone to gambling away money you don't have, you should absolutely, positively, stay the hell away. If you walk away here, I won't blame you. I won't question your choices. I'll give you one last, "You sure?" And if you say yes, I'll just salute you on the way out. Gacha and loot box monetization schemes are never super consumer friendly. Though I think this one is about as reasonable as it can be. There's no power creep, There's no fabricated pressure to pull on the latest greatest, just good old-fashioned, hey, check this out, isn't it neat? If you have the ability to sometimes say no and exercise some restraint, Genshin's gacha system isn't the worst thing ever. But we should also probably take a second to bring up one other mixed bag: the community. There are millions upon millions of people who play Genshin all across the globe. Most of them are pretty great. In fact, most of them play super casually on their phone during the commute on the train or while taking their mid-morning bathroom break. They probably only talk to one or two people about Genshin, but some of us are a bit more plugged in, and unfortunately when you get a large enough group of people who develop a very strong bond of loyalty to a product, you're bound to get some poor decision makers. There is unfortunately a segment of the player base who has a tendency to make the rest of us look bad, and once in a while they even manage to whip up the rest of the community behind them. Ask anyone who was around for the first anniversary debacle. Or heck, just read the comments section on major YouTuber videos. It only takes a few to spoil the mood, and Genshin has such a large player base that this means that a tiny percentage is still a fairly large number. I maintain, however, that it is a pretty small percentage. Most of us are really great. We'd love to talk to you about the game, help you out, offer advice. Come to think of it, I should probably consider setting up a Discord. Let me know if you want that. We are passionate in myriad ways, from art and music, to fan fiction, to cosplay and conventions, to just avidly playing the dang game. And so, if I haven't scared you off yet, and an open world RPG with tons of other crossover elements sounds like your thing, you might as well give it a try. After all, it's free, and you can even play it on your phone. The beginning's not even the best part of the game, but it's good enough to give you a taste. I promise I'll do everything I can to help you out. Or don't. The game's definitely not for everyone. Ultimately, that's a personal decision, and it's not up to me to decide for you. At the end of the day, there's only one rule to Genshin Impact, and it's this: play the game however you want to play. There's no right or wrong. There are sweaty tryhards and filthy casuals. There are theory-crafting min-maxers and waifu and husbando collectors. And of course, there are many people who won't touch the game at all. But if you do, you know where to find me. So thank you for watching. I hope this quick analysis on the various aspects of the game was helpful. And just maybe, I'll see you in the next one.